Okay, welcome back. Today we want to talk about the simulator, how we can download and install the Netapp and as a simulator on a VMware Fusion on the Mac. I'm on a Mac OS right now, but you can use it on a VMware Player or VMware Workstation and Microsoft also, and it's gonna be the same thing. First thing I wanted to check, I'm going to the launch, but I want to make sure that I have the VMware Fusion installed on my machine here. I have it and it is okay. So let's go to the Netapp website in order to download the simulator. So I'm going to the Netapp website. So you need to sign into the website, and in order to download the application, you need to have a minimal access. So you need to submit and log into the system. You need to first submit and sign up and then get access. It depends on your permission and your access. And then when you log into the system, so after logging, you need to go to the downloads and software. And at the right top, you have tool chest here, and you can see data on tap simulator. So click on this link and you're going to a page that you can start just seeing the information related to the simulator and start downloading the simulator. So you can download the simulator version 8 and version 9, which I'm going to download the version 9, and I want to work with the newer version. But in the market, you will see some version 8s also. There are people are using them. And as you can see here, it says that you can install it on the Windows or Mac, and you need to have a VMware software in order to be able to run this one. One thing that you have to know about it is that we don't have any HA support in the simulator because it's just a simulator and we just want to test some basic features. So you don't have any simulator here. And there's some requirements, which is good to know always, that you need to have a dual core 64-bit CPU, and we need 5.1 gigabyte of memory for one instance and 10.2 gigabyte of RAM for 2 instances. So if you want to run both of the nodes, both of the HA pairs on a laptop or on a computer, you need to have at least 10 gigabyte of memory just for the virtual machines. So it means you need to have some 16 gigabyte of memory at least to be able to run the 2 nodes on the same machine. Or I have enough memory on this machine right now, and I have 16 gigabyte of memory on my Mac OS here. So I don't have any problem. I can run 2 instances, but for the third one, because in some scenarios I need another storage, so I'm going to use another laptop for running the simulator. But this is one of the important things. The other ones are okay for the gigabyte of disk space. We are good to go for the other ones. And if you're running AMD, also you need to make sure that AMD V is enabled and also VT, virtualization technology, is enabled for the Intel CPUs. For the software, you need Windows 7 or 10 or VMware Workstation 11 or Player 7. It works on a Mac OS. We need at least VMware Fusion 7.11. So you need to read these informations, like simply the terms and conditions, hit continue. And here you have the list of all the simulators. We have 9.3, 9.2, and 9.1, 9, 832, 831, 8.3, even we have 8.2.3 versions, even older than that, 8.1.4. So I'm going to download the latest one, which is 9.3. So there's one for VMware ESX, and there's another one for VMware Workstation Player and VMware Fusion. So let's download this one. So click on the download. Let's wait for the download then. Okay, we've already downloaded our virtual simulator for the Netapp storage. This is the ONTAP 9.3 OVA file. And you can import OVA file into the VMware Workstation or VMware Fusion easily. But One thing before going through the installation, I want to emphasize that if you don't know how to install VMware Workstation or how to install VMware Fusion on a Mac or how you can work with them, I have actually a separate video for how you can install VMware Fusion or VMware Workstation on your laptops, whether it's a Mac or Windows. I have all of them, and you can just look at them, and you can find out how you can install them. But anyway, in the Mac OS, I'm just going to double click on the file, the OVA file that we've downloaded, and or you can just right click on it and say open with the VMware Fusion. Doesn't matter, whatever you want to use. You can double click or just right click and say open with the specific software you want. When you double click on it, you will see a page open from the VMware Fusion. Here is the page, so I'm going to minimize this one. And you can just hit continue, and you have the steps here. Choose the virtual machine, configuration, importing, and finish. So let's continue, and you can give it a name. Here I'm going to give it a name, ITrepo-node1. So this is an IT repo, or let's say, let's give it a name like IT, all small ITrepo dash CLU for cluster and dash N1 for node 1. I'm going to put it in the default location. This is the location that you can select for putting your virtual hard disks in your physical hard disk actually. So I'm click save. So it's going to import the new virtual machine into the VMware Fusion. So now we have all the configurations, and as you can see here, it says memory 5.1 gigabyte of memory. It has 4 network cards and 2 CPU cores, and it seems it's all done, and you can just hit finish. So you can start the VMware Fusion, and it's going through a menu, and it says hit the enter to boot immediately, or any other key for command prompts. So I'm going to click inside the VMware and just hit one key here, and the key is enter actually. And I'm booting the storage immediately. And now I'm going to press Ctrl C for boot menu. So you can wait for the time to pass and just hit Ctrl C. And you can see it says data on tap version 9.3, and first time we are just going to hit Ctrl C in order to go to the boot menu. In the boot menu you have several options. Option 1 is normal boot, the other one is boot without HCRC, change password, and some other configurations down there. For the first time when you're installing your simulator, we would like you to select option 4. We want to clean configuration and initialize all disks. So just go ahead and click on, just choose number 4 and hit enter. And this one is going to clean all the configurations on your storage node and initialize all disks, and it will reboot the box. And right now we are installing the first node, and the node name is ITrepo-CLU-N1. So let's wait for this one to just initialize all the disks. It will actually get a confirmation from us. It says, are you sure for doing this? We are just resetting all the configurations. I'm saying yes, I'm sure about this one, and it again asks, this will erase all the data on the disk. Are you sure? And I'm saying yes. It's going to reboot the machine. It takes some time. I'm just going to pause the video for now and wait for the reboot. Okay, we are back. After several minutes, you will reach to the point that you have to reboot your machine. You have to wait actually to see the reboot first, and there will be the disk wipes, and you're reaching to the point here. It says the type yes to confirm and continue. And technically here is the system initialization. It is already completed, and there are some basic configuration you need to do. So let's start with the configuration. I'm typing yes here, and it is asking for the node management interface port. So technically we need one port for the node management because we are just installing the first node. We need to have a node management and also the cluster management. So first we are starting with the node management, and it is asking for the E0C port for the node management. I'm okay right now for this one. We can change this one later, but this is the node management of node 1, E0C. And just hit enter. You don't need to type anything. If you hit enter, it means that you agree with the E0C. And it then asks for the IP address of the node that you want to use. So I'm just right now putting the IP address of 192.168 and 0.101 for node 1, and then put the mask as 255.255.255.0. It's a /24, and the default gateway is 192.168.0.254, and hit enter. So it is saying that right now, so you use your web browser to complete cluster setup by accessing 192.168.0.101. Otherwise, press enter to complete cluster setup using the command line. So if you need to configure the storage with the graphical user interface, you can just go through the 192.168.0.101 right now and start configuring. So let's see how we can access it. So just open your web browser and access this IP address in your web browser. So I'm going to open my web browser here and put the HTTPS / 192.168.0.101. So try to access this IP address. But you can see that it takes time and you can't actually access this IP address. So we need to first find out if we can hit this IP address right now or not. I'm going to open a terminal here and try to ping actually this IP address 192.168.0.101 from my laptop. I cannot ping this one. As you can see, it says request timeout. That's the reason that I don't have access from my laptop to this IP address, is because the network configuration of this virtual machine, it's not bridge, and I can't transfer the traffic between my laptop from physical world to this virtual machine. In order to do this, I'm going to click on this icon up here on the wrench and going to the network adapter, and you'll see that the adapter configuration is private to my Mac. I'm going to change this one to Wi-Fi, which is my Wi-Fi address, and I can get the IP addresses from my Wi-Fi modem router at home, and also this one. Actually, I'm bridging all of my connections to my Wi-Fi, so they're all good now. So they're all bridged. And you can see after a while we get the access. So cool. Now I'm going to refresh the page. And this is the security for the certificate. We can ignore this one for now. Just proceed with the web page. And voila, this is a system manager, and you can start configuring your storage based on this one. So it says it just gives you a welcome. If you need to import any template, you can import any template you want, but you can start creating your cluster from here. So you can set up your cluster and start working on the configuration. There is a guided setup here. You can click on this one. It asks for your cluster name, for the username and password, and you can start configuring your networks and just move forward. Let me just give it a name. For example, I give a name, right? ITrepo -CLU. That's the name of my cluster. I put a password on it. And for now, I don't put any license. I'm going to submit and continue. So this is the way that you can go move forward with the configurations. And there are step-by-steps, and it's really easy. So you can put some informations here. But what I'm going to do usually, I'm not a fan of the GUI all the times. I'm going to cancel this one and close this one, and I'm going to the terminal, back to the console, the way that we were working. Let's close this one also. And because here it says you can use this GUI, otherwise press enter to complete the cluster setup using the command line interface. So I'm going to hit enter for go with the command prompt. So now it says, do you want to create a new cluster or join an existing cluster? So we are going to create a new one because this is the first node, and then for the second node we are going to join it to the cluster. So now we are going to then create a cluster. Hit enter. It says, do you intend for this node to be used as a single node cluster? And remember the methods of installation. The single node cluster, it's just one node and one controller without having any HA or any partner. Actually no, here we want to have another node also as a pair. So the default is no, as you can check this one. The default is no. So just hit enter, it means no, and you'll go with the configurations. Do you want to use these default settings like private cluster network port on E0A and E0B, and cluster port MTU 1500, and interface IP addresses, cluster interface IP addresses will be automatically generated? And yes, we are good. Just hit enter. Enter the cluster password, and the username is admin, as you can see in the page. Just putting the password here, and now it's just going through the configuration of your cluster. I'm going to pause the video again for some times because this may take some times, and we will continue again. Okay, after some times, it is asking for the cluster name now. I'm just putting the cluster name ITrepo-CLU. Hit enter. It is creating the cluster for us, starting some services, and we should be good to go. Just give it some time. Just, pausing the video again. Now it is asking for the license keys. We can add the license key here, but it's a little bit difficult because it's somehow if we can copy and paste the license keys, that would be easier. Oh, by the way, we need to download the license keys also from the NetApp website. We forgot to do this. I'm going to hit enter here. I will provide the licenses later. Now it is asking for the cluster management interface port. The other one, if you remember, it asked for E0C as the node management port. Now this one is the cluster management port, so they are different. So E0C was for the node 1 management, and E0D will be for the cluster management. I'm going to hit enter, and the IP address of the cluster management, I'm just putting 100 here. So 192.168.0.100 is the cluster management IP. 192.168.0.101 was the node 1 management IP. So again, my subnet mask would be in the default gateway. Also, I'm just hitting enter for 0254. For the DNS, I'm just putting 192.168.0.1. This is my DNS address. And the name server for the IP address, I don't have any name server here. Not using anything. Where is your control located? I'm just putting your location. Mine is Vancouver, and hit enter, and voila, we are good to go right now. And it is giving us some informations. It is saying that the cluster ITrepo-CLU has been created. To complete the cluster step, you must join additional nodes to the cluster. By running the system node show discovered in the cluster, add node from a node in the cluster. And it says again, to complete the system configuration, you can use either the on-command system manager, which is the GUI, or the command line. To access the on-command system manager, you can just access from a web browser, or another method is to access the command line interface. You can connect from the to the IP address with the SSH. Here the way is SSH admin and the IP address. So we are in we are good. And actually, congratulations to you. You've installed your first node in the NetApp storage cluster. And let's take a look at the web GUI now. Going to open a web page and type the IP address. This is the IP address of the cluster. Don't forget that we need to put the HTTPS at the very beginning. So HTTPS, and we're accessing actually the cluster right now. It's pretty nice. It will ask for the username and password. You can see the nice background in this version on the ONTAP System Manager. Just putting the username and password and hit enter, and voila, we are inside the NetApp ONTAP System Manager version 9.3, which is a little bit different from the version 9.1, and we have some information here, and we'll go through these information in the next module. I hope you had a good time in the installation. We'll talk about the simulator in the next module.